In defeating the Sith Lord Dooku during their duel scene in Revenge of the Sith, the Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker accomplished something that was exceptionally rare in that era, namely, a Jedi defeating a Sith in lightsaber combat. Although the Jedi Order wouldn't know the exact details of how Anakin was able to emerge victorious against Dooku on Grievous's flagship the Invisible Hand during the Battle of Coruscant, Anakin's defeat of Dooku was clearly an impressive feat. The impressiveness of Anakin's accomplishment wouldn't only be found in comparison to the other example of a Jedi defeating a Sith in this era, which would be Obi-Wan's victory over Darth Maul more than a decade earlier, given how that duel ended, but also a result of how Dooku was viewed by the Jedi during the era of the Clone War. As revealed in Jedi vs. Sith: The Essential Guide to the Force, during Dooku's time as a Jedi, he was, quote, among the most highly regarded lightsaber instructors. Even more, as noted in the Legends novel Labyrinth of Evil, during his time within the Jedi Order, Dooku became, quote, the temple's most agile swordmaster and instructor. And finally, the Revenge of the Sith novelization points out that Dooku was, quote, one of the most respected and powerful Jedi in the Order's 25,000-year history. Needless to say, the Jedi understood how powerful Dooku was, and he was respected for his abilities in lightsaber combat. Given the accomplishment achieved by Anakin through his victory over Dooku, it must be asked, how did the Jedi view Anakin's power after he defeated Dooku during the Battle of Coruscant? In today's video, we'll look at a few examples found within the Revenge of the Sith novelization that reveal how a number of Jedi High Council members reacted to Anakin's victory over Dooku, explaining what these Jedi thought about Anakin's power in the aftermath of this duel. We'll start by looking at the reaction of Mace Windu. Immediately following Anakin and Obi-Wan's rescue of Supreme Chancellor Palpatine and Anakin's remarkable landing of the Invisible Hand on Coruscant, Mace set out to meet them. Initially, Mace couldn't believe that the Invisible Hand had successfully landed and understood that only Anakin could accomplish something like that. Within the Legends lore, this meeting between Mace and Anakin would be the first time they saw each other in 5 months, given Anakin's efforts in the Outer Rim during the final months of the Clone War. But upon seeing the Jedi Knight, Mace understood that Anakin was not the same individual who left 5 months earlier. For Mace, Anakin now had, quote, some new ease, new confidence, an aura of inner power. During the resulting conversation Mace had with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Palpatine, he would go on to learn that Anakin had defeated Dooku by himself, a fact that Mace found astonishing, resulting in him questioning how Anakin was able to emerge victorious. Of course, Anakin and Palpatine wouldn't provide the exact details of how Anakin defeated Dooku, with Palpatine merely acknowledging the fact that Anakin was fighting to save a friend. Ultimately, Mace noted that the Jedi High Council would be interested in Anakin's full report. But the important point for today's video is this: Mace then had a separate conversation solely with Obi-Wan. During this conversation, Mace revealed how close they were to revealing exactly who Darth Sidious was, with Mace believing that the Sith Lord wasn't Palpatine, but someone within Palpatine's inner circle. When Mace told Obi-Wan that he wasn't to reveal this information to Anakin, something that Obi-Wan was initially hesitant to do, Mace then told Obi-Wan, quote, Skywalker is arguably the most powerful Jedi alive, and he is still getting stronger. Following the Battle of Coruscant and Anakin's defeat of Dooku, Mace understood exactly how powerful Anakin was, clearly recognizing that even though Anakin hadn't yet reached the full extent of his power, he was still arguably the most powerful Jedi within the Order. This was a tremendous compliment coming from Mace Windu, given that powerful Jedi such as Mace himself and Yoda were also members of the Order. Mace had significant concerns about the stability of Anakin's power during this time, but nonetheless, Anakin's defeat of Dooku during the Battle of Coruscant would only further Mace's opinion that Anakin was arguably the most powerful Jedi alive. Anakin's defeat of Dooku didn't just have an impact on Mace in this regard, but 2 other High Council members as well, Ki-Adi-Mundi and Agent Kolar. Following the Battle of Coruscant, in what were the final days of the Clone War, members of the Jedi High Council were discussing how to best utilize Anakin Skywalker in regards to the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. However, Ki-Adi-Mundi left no doubt as to how important he believed Anakin was, something that was only made more clear to him given his defeat of Dooku. As revealed in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, Ki-Adi-Mundi was confident that Anakin possessed the power necessary to not just confront the Sith Lord in battle, but to do so by himself. It was Anakin's defeat of Dooku that proved this. For this reason, Ki-Adi-Mundi was clear: Anakin had to be utilized against the Sith, and thereby given a chance to fulfill his destiny regarding the prophecy of the Chosen One. Although Agent Kolar agreed, the novelization demonstrates that he went even further in his confidence regarding Anakin following his victory against Dooku. Following Ki-Adi-Mundi's remarks, Agent Kolar stated, quote, "Anakin is the one Jedi we can best hope would survive an encounter with a Sith Lord." Therefore, just as Ki-Adi-Mundi had previously concluded, Agent Kolar saw Anakin as immensely valuable in their efforts against the Sith. I'll note that although the Jedi High Council would go on to formulate the specifics of their plan against the Sith, there wasn't a single Jedi on the High Council who expressly disagreed with Ki-Adi-Mundi and Agent Kolar in regards to Anakin's power, not even Yoda. As the Revenge of the Sith novelization makes clear, both Ki-Adi-Mundi and Agent Kolar were heavily influenced by Anakin's defeat of Dooku when recognizing his power, and the potential he had in defeating the Sith. Anakin's victory over Dooku was proof that he was immensely powerful. Not just powerful enough to confront a Sith Lord alone, but also the Jedi who would likely have the best chance of winning a duel against the Sith. Interestingly, within the novel, when Mace was preparing to embark on his mission to confront Palpatine with Saesee Tiin, Agent Kolar, and Kit Fisto, who they now knew was Darth Sidious, Agent Kolar specifically asked Mace whether Anakin would be joining them. Mace would explain that Anakin wouldn't be joining them, at which point, the novel reveals that the three other Jedi, quote, shared a significant silence. By specifically mentioning Anakin in this scene just prior to their confrontation with Sidious, I believe it again demonstrates that Agent Kolar clearly recognized Anakin's power and abilities following his defeat of Dooku. The Revenge of the Sith novelization also reveals what Yoda thought about Anakin's abilities in the aftermath of his duel with Dooku during the Battle of Coruscant. Within the novel, there's a scene just prior to Anakin revealing to Mace that Palpatine was Darth Sidious, where Mace and Yoda discuss their plan should they ultimately have to confront Darth Sidious in the future. During this discussion, Yoda had no doubt that such a confrontation would be a difficult one, and therefore, Jedi Masters would be necessary to undertake such a confrontation if they were going to be successful. At this point, Mace revealed that he had already chosen 4 of the Jedi Order's best: Saesee Tiin, Agent Kolar, and Kit Fisto, with Mace himself completing the group, the Jedi who would ultimately confront Sidious in the film. However, although Mace had already made his preparations in this regard, choosing the Jedi who he considered the Order's best, Yoda asked Mace specifically about Anakin, inquiring about whether he would be utilizing the Jedi Knight in a potential confrontation with Sidious as well. Mace explained that bringing Anakin was too much of a risk, with Yoda ultimately accepting Mace's explanation. But I do think that Yoda's actions during this scene reveal how powerful he believed Anakin was following his successful duel against Dooku. Yoda was adamant that Mace needed to prepare the Jedi Order's best available members if they were going to successfully defeat Sidious. But importantly, although Yoda had mentioned specifically the need for Jedi Masters, he didn't hesitate to include Anakin in the group of Jedi who should be present for a confrontation with Sidious. Just as we saw Ki-Adi-Mundi and Agent Kolar express previously, this scene makes it appear as though Yoda placed his confidence in Anakin's power as well following his victory over Dooku, viewing Anakin as a Jedi who should be utilized against the Sith. So there we have it, how Anakin's power was viewed by members of the Jedi High Council after he defeated Dooku. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me, for not being utilized against the Sith.